The reason I bring this up is because according to Ian Rappaport, there's a reason why Spencer Rattler fell in this draft. And that reason is because of something he did in high school. Years, and we're talking about years ago. It came back to bite him in the butt. But I'm going to ask you guys this question. Do you believe these reports are true? Well, what do we have here? So I was working on a entirely different video for you guys, and I'll give you a little teaser. I'm working on the biggest winners of the NFL draft and the biggest losers, so be on the lookout for that video. Probably not tonight, but maybe tomorrow. And since I brought it up, let me know in the comment section who you think are some of the biggest winners and losers, and who knows, we may use your comment in tomorrow's video, and we may talk about whatever you say in the comment. Anyways though, getting that out the way, like I was saying as I was working on the video, in the background, I got on the NFL draft and I'm watching it nonstop. And in the 5th round with the 150th overall pick, the New Orleans Saints, this is where they selected the man, the myth, the legend himself, the Rattler. I didn't think too much of this. Yeah, he fell a little bit because according to some people, and I'll show it to you right here, I believe ESPN, they had him ranked as, yeah, you see it, overall 98th best player. And I even heard reports yesterday in the 2nd round that the Saints and Raiders, they were going to take because hold on. Where did the Saints pick when I'm looking it up? Oh yeah, the Saints had the 41st pick, and that's where they picked up Corey McKinstry. And the Raiders, they had the 44th pick. And I also heard some other reports stating that the Giants might take him with the 47th overall pick. However, to make a long story short, that didn't happen. And not only did he just fall out of the 2nd round, but he fell out of the 3rd round and the 4th round and dang near the 5th round too. And you could say it was fairly smart for the Saints not to waste a 2nd round pick on him because they got him later in the 5th round. With all that being said, the reason I bring this up is because according to Ian Rappaport, there's a reason why Spencer Rattler fell in this draft. And that reason is because of something he did in high school. Years, and we're talking about years ago. It came back to bite him in the butt. Reportedly, multiple teams couldn't get the quote-unquote image of Spencer Rattler and his QB1 show, I believe it was called Beyond the Lights, that he did in high school. It's a reality TV show. They couldn't get the image of Rattler back then out of their minds. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say his quote-unquote image, let's just say he was extremely unlikable in that reality TV show. There's no real way to sugarcoat this. He was a cocky a-hole. Another thing people tend to forget about and bring up, and I'm going to get to all this in just a second, is he got kicked off of his high school football team as well for smoking Mary Jane. There was also some other things he was doing, but the point is, definitely had some character concerns in high school that have came back to bite him in the butt, like I said a couple minutes ago. Why I find this extremely interesting is because ever since those high school days, ever since he was 17, 18 years old, I think Rattler, he's grown up and matured a lot, and he's a well, maybe not completely, but he has changed for the better, and he's a different person. He's not that same cocky a-hole, or at least he doesn't come off that way. I'll give you my perspective on him. When he first got to Oklahoma, you could sense that huge ego. He was a very prideful person. And there was some cockiness to him, which I don't think there's anything wrong with being slightly cocky because as an athlete, you got to be extremely confident, and most athletes, they are cocky. However, after that entire Oklahoma experience with Caleb Williams taking over his job, I thought he got served a huge piece of humble pie and it helped him out. Ever since he got to Carolina, I've found myself rooting for him, and I think he's a good dude. But the unfortunate part about this is the scouts, like Ian Rappaport said, they can't get that image of him. They can't get those video clips of him talking down on his teammates back in high school out of their brains and out of their minds. And I'm not going to lie. I understand it. Like, that's the first thing you think of when you hear Spencer Rattler. And you can't change that because that's how your mind works. But I don't think you should hold that against him. Here's my thing with all this. I am not, let me make this clear, I am not calling Ian Rappaport a liar. He's great at his job, and he has no reason to lie about this. Why would he make it up? Why would he? He has nothing to gain from making this up. But I'm going to ask you guys this question. Do you believe these reports are true? Do you honestly believe NFL GMs and owners are so disgusted at what they saw out of a 16 and 17-year-old kid in high school, they're not going to draft them 6 or 7 years later? I mean, come on now, let's be real. As a former athlete myself, I'm asking all my athletes watching this video, what 16/17-year-old athlete wasn't cocky or currently isn't cocky? I will say though, how Rattler acted in that QB1 video clip, I can't show you due to copyright reasons, but how he acted towards his teammates, and you know what I'm talking about, where he's talking down to, I believe it's the backup quarterback, he's trash talking his own wide receivers. It's disgusting behavior, and that's not how a leader should act. I'm extremely curious, and it's the main reason I'm making this video. Please let me know your thoughts down below. But for myself, I can't hold that against him. I refuse to. I'm willing to overlook that, and I just have a hard time believing, and maybe I shouldn't, but I do have a hard time believing these NFL teams are holding that against Rattler as well. I'm not calling Ian Rappaport a liar. I believe the guy. He's very reliable. I'm just trying to imagine how the conversation went, though, with the owner and the GM. The owner brings up, or the GM brings up, hey, what about old Rattler? Should we take him in the 3rd round? And then the owner's like, no, I'm not giving that guy $2 to $3 million. Did you see what he did as a 17-year-old? That guy's a dirtbag. I'm not drafting him or paying him. I'll put it to you like this. If that's the worst thing Spencer Rattler has done up until this point in his life, I think he'll be okay. There's plenty of other players who have played and succeeded in the NFL who have done way worse things, and we're not even going to get into all that. As far as it goes for Rattler going to the Saints, should be a good scenario for both parties because they currently have Derek Carr, and Rattler, he can learn under him. Potentially, who knows, if Carr goes down with an injury, he could step in. I'm not wishing that on anybody. I'm not wishing no injuries. You don't want to see that. But I'm just saying, playing the what-if game, spitballing here, I think Rattler is a more than capable quarterback. He could win you some games in the NFL. I don't view Spencer Rattler too far behind Bo Nix. And Bo Nix was taken with the 12th overall pick in the draft. I view Bo Nix as a backup quarterback in the NFL in this league. His highest, and I mean highest ceiling, is a bridge quarterback. Same thing for Rattler. Do I think Rattler's good enough to be a full-time starter in this league? No. No, I don't. I would say his ceiling is a bridge quarterback. He could be a guy who stays in the NFL for 10, 11, 12 years, fills in every now and then, and makes about $35 million as a backup, and that's a good career. But when you're talking about being the guy, I don't see it happening. I don't. I gave him the benefit of doubt at South Carolina because his offensive line was doo-doo cheeks. They were garbage. But you saw it at Oklahoma. What held him back is he doesn't read defenses well, and he doesn't go through his progressions well. He locks in on one guy only, and he doesn't come off of them. And that's not a recipe for success in the NFL. No way. Very interesting stuff. And as when I'm talking, by the time I get done editing this, it's going to change. But Brendan Rice, the wide receiver for USC, he has still not been drafted. And it's late in the 6th round. What in the HE double hockey sticks is going on there? I thought he was going to get drafted in the 3rd or 4th round. Update as to when I'm editing this video. In the 5th round with the 225th overall pick, the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh, they have selected Brendan Rice, wide receiver from USC. I got to do some digging and research on him. There had to be something he did before this draft. Does he have the plague or something? He was a top 100 overall prospect. How in the world did he fall to the 7th round? I saw some people stating he could go as high as early 2nd round. And he even stated himself that he thought he might go in the 2nd round. Crazy, man. Let me know in the comment section if you know anything about Brendan Rice and what happened there. It's been an odd NFL draft, but I feel like it's odd every year. I guess that's how the cookie crumbles. Let me know your thoughts on all this down below. But roll a minute.